STEPBible.org is a great way to read the Bible and to study it as deep as you like. It is a quick, easy tool to find all the details behind the text. For example, the genealogies of Jesus in Matthew 1. One of the things Matthew wants us to notice is the unusual reference to women. Genealogies don't normally include women, and especially not women like these. But they are getting us ready for the most important woman at the end, Mary. When you compare the ESV with King James Version, you find some interesting differences. In the King James Version, the names of people are rather strange, because it translates the Greek version of the names. The ESV changes the names to the form we're more familiar with from the Old Testament. It's easy to see the exact differences using the compare function. Load both versions, then in options display as columns with compare, and all the differences are in blue. And you can add more versions like the NIV. The first version is compared with each in turn. There are lots of versions you can compare in STEP. Click on Help and Available Versions and you get a bewildering list. Or for a more helpful list, click on User Guide, Resources, Bibles, Versions. And there you find them grouped into modern versions, older translations, revisions of older translations. These are mostly revisions of the King James Version, of course. Literal renditions, i.e. they try to translate the Hebrew and Greek word by word, so the English is often rather strange, but it's useful for using alongside the originals. And then, of course, the English translations of various ancient translations. It's often useful to load a handful of translations to compare them, but this passage isn't difficult to translate. Now, the first woman is in verse 3, where we read, by Tamar. To find the others, hover over by, and you'll find by Rahab, by Ruth, and by the wife of Uriah. We do know her name, it's Bathsheba, but I think Matthew is making a point. These women all have a tainted past. Each of them have an interesting story. You no doubt remember the story of Ruth, the Moabitess. She was a foreigner. And Rahab, she was a prostitute, or possibly an innkeeper. I know what you tell the children, but let's check it for ourselves. Was she an innkeeper or a prostitute? Select the other panel, then clear the line, and type Rahab and find. There, in the first reference, she's called a prostitute. And let's just check the translation. So hover over it, and you'll see, this title is used again 3 times altogether. And you see what it means. It comes from the verb zanah, which is to fornicate. So, sorry, it's true. Now, you probably didn't hear the story of Tamar as a child. The story is too sad and too sordid. Where is it? Well, if you do a text search, you get too many results, partly because there are 2 women called Tamar. So let's save time and do a topic search instead. And there you are, you get the main references immediately. Matthew is talking about her children with Judah, so you want the first one. And the second one is a similarly sad and sordid story. Read them and weep. No wonder hardly anyone names their daughter Tamar. Let's bookmark these to read later. So click on each in turn, then open the bookmarks, and they are both there. So pin them, and then you can look at them later. Now go back to Matthew 1 with the bookmark that was automatically saved before. Because in Matthew, we have to notice there's another important woman, Mary. And to see what's remarkable about her, we have to look at the grammar. So click on Options, and then on Color Code Grammar. We could turn on the detailed grammar, but we're looking for something quite obvious. So the color code shows it up easily. There's blue for male, pink for females, and black for neutral, and bold for plural. So 14 generations is pink because a generation is a female noun, and it is bold because it's plural. Now look at what it says about Joseph and Mary in verse 16. Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Jesus. Now it says of whom, but who does it refer to? Joseph or Mary? And you can see it's pink, so it's a feminine form, so it refers to Mary. But this is in contrast to the Greek in all the others. All the other begats in this chapter are for what the father is doing, even when the wife is named. For example, in 1:5, Salmon, the father of Boaz, by Rahab, and Boaz, the father of Obed, by Ruth. The men are stated as the fathers of all the children in this genealogy until Jesus, where this feminine form stands out, proclaiming the virgin birth. Hey, when you find something as cool as this, it's worth sharing. So click on the thumbs up and you can share it immediately on Facebook or Google+, or send a quick tweet about it. This sends a link to the panel that you're sharing and sets up the panel in the way that you have it now. Or you might try the same thing in the ESV, and you find it doesn't have colour coding. Well, it doesn't have it yet. We'll get round to it. In the meantime, you can encourage us to do it faster by voting for it. Click on the feedback and leave us a note. You can also report a bug, or make a suggestion, or just say, "Hi, thanks for everything." Or perhaps you have some time to offer us to help with checking data, or doing programming, or to help emailing Bible owners so that we can add more versions. It would be great to hear from you, whatever you have to say. Have fun.